12 minutes past 7 p.m. The meeting is called to order. Ms. Clerk, Mrs. Miss,
Thank you. Roll call, Mayor Joseph,
present.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Vice Mayor Keys,
Here.
Vice Councilman Bieneme,
Here.
Councilwoman Stero.
On behalf of Councilwoman Sterla, she is actually attending the National League of Cities, and she's actually in DC presently at the National League meeting. She did,
And the sister city,
correct. And she did send me a text this afternoon to tell us, to reflect to the council, mayor and council, that she would not be here for this meeting, but she's at a previous.
thank you. We'll proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance with Sergeant Milton Reed.
We have a quorum.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Yes, we do.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll continue with invocation with Pastor Mireille Simon from House of the Living God, located in North Miami.
In District 3, Mayor.
Heavenly Father, we have here gathered in your name, firstly to praise and worship your holy name. And Father, I'm here to present these council members, the mayor, the vice mayor, the council members, the resident of this beautiful city. I present all of them into your hands today. As I pray for this meeting that is about to begin, Father, I pray that wisdom shall reign. And Father God, any spirit that is not of you will be cast out of this place. And the Holy Spirit of God, which is the spirit of peace, shall reign in this place tonight. There shall be peace and harmony in the hearts of each and every one of us tonight, Father God. I pray for peace. In Jesus' mighty name, let this be a beautiful meeting for this beautiful town of North Miami and all the residents, Father God. And I thank you for the work that the mayor, the vice mayor, and the council and all the members are doing for the well-being of this city. We praise you, Lord, in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor. Mr. Manager, do we have any additions or deletions?
Yes, Mayor, we have one addition to the resolution, which would be tab F as in Frank, F-1.
Okay. I believe we have two special presentations.
That's correct. The first presentation we have is by our community planning and zoning manager, Tanya Wilson Sejour. Over the past few months, we have been getting a lot of, I wouldn't say complaints, but a lot of information or requests on what has the city been doing for sea level rise and sustainability. I will turn it over to Tanya to just give a few brief points on what the city has been doing for the past few years, actually.
Thank you. For the record, Tanya Wilson Sejour, Planning Manager in Community Planning and Development. There we go. IT puts the presentation on the screen. Just to provide an overview of some of the city's current and future sustainability initiatives, the city manager asked me to put this brief presentation together just so the council as well as the public can have an understanding as to what the city has been involved in the past as it relates to sustainability and some of the future plans that we have in the pipeline. So just to provide some context, I want to start out with just a definition so we all understand when we say sustainability, what exactly we're referring to. So just a basic definition from the EPA site says it's an ability to sustain, or in other words, just to endure. In terms of looking at sustainability as it relates to the city, it's really approaching sustainability from the aspect of providing for our current and present needs without impacting or compromising the ability of future generations. So looking at the topic of sustainability, we know that scientists have declared that over the years, over the past century, the temperatures have risen. We've found on record that up to 2 degrees Fahrenheit, we're seeing in temperature increases caused by greenhouse gas emissions. As a result, sea levels have begun to rise. Ice caps have melted. In some areas, we've even seen more acidity in terms of the oceanic bodies. And this has caused increased hurricanes and flash floods across the country and across the globe, I would say. I'm looking at the threats to coastal communities like North Miami that are in low-lying areas. We know it affects our environment. We have several wetlands that surround and buffer the city. It's an impact to the economy whenever there are damages caused by sea level rise and flooding. Damages and potential impacts to our infrastructure, and of course overall the impacts and potential disruption of public health, safety, and welfare. This scene may look familiar to many of you. Back in October of 2012, this is a scene of A1A in Fort Lauderdale. This was when Hurricane Sandy, even though it didn't make landfall, was actually it actually caused damage to the Fort Lauderdale beach area. You can see from the pictures that was several excessive areas of erosion. There was flooding on the highway. We know that there were flash floods at the time. These are impacts that we're starting to see that have been more significant and tragic over the years as sea levels begin to rise and as low-lying areas, especially in southeast Florida, begin to have impacts from beach erosion and other elements. And again, another scene that may look familiar. This is from Miami Beach, our neighbors to the south, and this was back in 2013. You notice from the map that's shown, I don't know how clearly it's appearing on the screen, you notice the areas in red, they're showing areas that are above the sea level. You notice the entire Miami-Dade County, the Tri-County area, you're seeing that they're low-level areas. So certainly right now, currently, these areas are considered high-risk areas. And if over time we're anticipating an increase in sea level rise, these are areas of critical state concern that communities like North Miami cannot ignore and certainly have to be a part of the conversation as to how we can mitigate those future long-term impacts. So looking at the threats to coastal communities, just a few bullet points of things that we have to be concerned about and consider in our planning and our policy making. There's a threat to increased flooding and drainage problems. We know that there is threat to destruction of the natural habitat, susceptibility to storm surges and tidal surges, increased evacuation areas and evacuation times if there are hurricanes and other events that would affect the eastern shores of our city, increased shoreline erosion, saltwater intrusion, stresses to the ecosystem, certainly on our infrastructure, looking at roads and the water and sewer system. And the last one that we have there is the loss of land and damage to existing development. I included this map as an example. This is actually an excerpt from our comprehensive plan. It's showing everything that's east of the Biscayne corridor being in what the state considered as the coastal planning area. This is the area of critical state concern. In our comprehensive plan, we're actually required to include an entire standalone element that's called the coastal planning element, coastal management element, excuse me. And for development that occurs in this particular critical area, there has to be consideration for setting aside funding and budgeting to address any type of flooding concerns and erosion and impacts to that habitat. That's considered one of the most critical areas in the city right now. So looking again at the conversation of climate change, for many individuals, it just becomes a very abstract topic. We know certainly that you can't change the course of time. The impacts have already been made to our environment. So what we're focusing on is not eliminating climate change, but certainly finding ways and including measures and practices that help us to adapt as a coastal community. So looking at what the city has done in the past, I want to start by looking at the policy framework that we've had in place. Back in 2013, the city adopted a resolution just to lend support to the South Florida Regional Climate Change Compact. This is a movement that stretched across the entire Tri-County area where Palm Beach, Miami-Dade, and Monroe County agreed to lock arms in order to have practices and policies developed that will have a regional impact. Because certainly we're not independent, we're not standalone in terms of the threat to the area. So if a solution is going to be viable, it will include the collaborative effort of the entire region. So North Miami, as a partner to that compact, adopted a resolution to lend support in a bold way that we're a part of working towards a solution to develop mitigation strategies for the Southeast Florida area. And again, back in 2007, the city developed sustainable policies in our comprehensive plan. We know that under Objective 1.9 and 1.10, we've included actual policies that speak towards developing sustainable building practices within the city for all new construction in North Miami. It's required to either be LEED certified or a comparable sustainable program. Again, in our city codes, we know Chapter 20 of our code includes tree protection policies, and that deals with maintaining the existing tree canopy as well as finding measures to increase the tree canopy throughout the city. And again, in Chapter 29, we have green building policies. Any public funds that are spent on municipal buildings per our city code must go towards making those buildings or facilities more sustainable or green. So that's back since 2007 that we've had them in our city codes. And looking again for floodplain management, we actually have a floodplain management committee that meets regularly to develop strategies and policies to address floodplain management within the city. So looking at some of the practices, so we're shifting over from the policy framework that we have as a city and looking now more towards the actual day-to-day practice of some of the things that we have in place. We know under water conservation through the Public Works Department, we have a showerhead giveaway program. We also have commercial restaurants and spray giveaway programs to support commercial businesses to be more green and sustainable. We have a citywide recycling program that's been in existence for several years. In terms of energy efficiency, one of the things that are actually on tonight's agenda is a proposal for a green energy grant to assist small businesses in greening their operations. And again, we have a CDBG housing rehab program that's been around for many years, guidelines for the last 7 years actually, that requires that for every federal funds that are spent on rehab, it has to be spent towards greening the residential properties within the city of North Miami. And later on in the presentation, I'll talk about the award that the city actually received for having that cutting edge program that doesn't exist anywhere else in the state. Another point that we've been engaging in is reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The NOMI shuttles, this is not something that many people know, actually runs on biodiesel, something that the city invests in. It runs cleaner and reduces greenhouse gas emissions. The city has been a tree city for the last 24 years, so that's an honorable title that we've maintained. And it's really a commitment that says we recognize the importance of maintaining a tree canopy within North Miami, and we make efforts and spend money on investing in increasing the canopy throughout the city. In terms of community gardens, we have 4 community gardens within the city currently, and rain barrels that are at certain city park sites. Bird sanctuaries and butterfly gardens are also incorporated in many of our public parks. And looking on the infrastructure side, through Public Works, this information was obtained that we have salinity barriers to help reduce saltwater intrusion in the freshwater system that we have in North Miami. Also have exfiltration system and well field protection on the infrastructure side. So looking forward, so we just looked backward and current in terms of what the city has been engaged in. Looking forward, some of the 2015 initiatives that we have in place and beyond is to have an energy audit done on all city-owned facilities. This is very important, certainly for government to set the trend in terms of sustainability. If we're saying that we're going to conserve and we're going to maximize resources that we have, it only makes sense that we start with home and we start with assessing some of the waste that we may have in terms of energy consumption and developing ways that we could mitigate and reduce the energy consumption throughout city facilities. Another one that we have that's underway is a plant site assessment inventory that's being done. There's a grant that the city received 2 years ago that allowed us to be able to retain a firm to do a full assessment of the entire tree canopy within the city to determine areas of deficiency and to figure out how we can move forward with replanting in areas that have deficiency and areas that need additional tree canopy. And then again, the comprehensive plan process that is underway, very important process that's underway. We only update that plan every 7 years. This year, the recommendation that's being made by staff is that we include a climate change element. Back in 2007, even though the topic of sustainability was important, climate change was not such a focal point for our city or even for the region. And we've taken the bold approach that we think it needs to be introduced as a brand new standalone chapter within our comprehensive plan, so at least we can start to put proper policies and proper recommendations for funding moving forward. The other bullet says to assess vulnerable areas and develop a resident educational program. This is so crucial because oftentimes when these presentations are done and you show the maps and people see the sea level rise and they see low-lying areas, it creates a frenzy. The idea is not to create panic, but the idea is to have a rational discussion about climate change and to recognize that it is inevitable. It's here, it's coming, and certainly what we do as responsible government is to plan for it and to ensure that we're prepared for the changes that will come that will affect our shoreline. And then the last one, of course, is to aggressively identify funding. many of the initiatives that are out there and the funding sources, the city, because it is a coastal city, is in a good position to be able to make proposal and requests for grant funding from either the state or federal government to assist in our initiatives. And then our bragging rights as a city, this is the exciting part. North Miami, back in 2007, we are members of the Green Building Council, and the city is actually a certified silver green local government. There are only 3 cities in the entire Miami-Dade County that have that title, and North Miami actually has a silver certification. And again, as I mentioned before, for the last 24 years, we've obtained a certification. It's something that you have to apply for each year and to prove that you have taken steps to maintain your tree canopy or increased it since the original certification. And North Miami has successfully done that over the last 24 years. I think that's very exciting for the city to have that type of bragging right. And then most recently, back in 2014, you'll see a picture of Councilman Bain and me receiving the award on the bottom right side. We received an award from the U.S. Conference of Mayors in recognition for our green affordable housing rehab program, one of the only ones in the state where the city has committed for all federal dollars received from HUD when we have rehabilitation of housing, that it goes towards making those homes more sustainable. Certainly if it's more sustainable, it helps with affordability and reducing the overhead costs for folks that are in the low to moderate income range. And with that, the last slide just talks about some of the membership and affiliations that we've paid for and partnered with as a city. South Florida Climate Change Compact that we mentioned before, through the adoption of the resolution, we are partners in that entire process. For FGBC, we're local government, we actually have participation on that committee. For Miami-Dade Million Tree Initiative, North Miami is a part of that partnership also. And then last, ICLEI, which is a good technical resource for us. We have a paid membership to ICLEI every year where the city receives resources and updates, and it keeps us current in terms of climate change initiatives or just things that we need to be cognizant of as a local government, a coastal community, so at least we can stay ahead of the curve. And that ends my presentation on sustainability. And if the council has any questions at this time, I can entertain it.
Thank you, Tanya.
Any comment, question from the dais? No? Mr. Manager? No? We'll move forward with the second presentation, which is a certificate of recognition in honor of Florida Bicycle Month. Okay. You're gonna ask Miss Rose Grandpierre to please come forward, and our Director of Parks and Recs, Derek. This certificate of recognition is presented to Florida to Bike 305. Represented by Rose Grandpierre. It reads as follows. The City of North Miami recognizes you, Back 305, for your continuous support of our monthly Get in Gear community bike ride. Your efforts in implementing a more sustainable, livable, and healthier lifestyle for the residents in Miami-Dade County, and specifically the City of North Miami. So we present to you this certificate just in recognition of the great work that you and Back 305 have been doing in the City of North Miami. Do we have it this Saturday? Now we'll have some community updates by our wonderful Pam Solomon. Is she here today? Oh, you are.
Good evening, everyone. I have a wonderful list of events and upcoming programs to share with you, and I promise to be brief. Anything that we talk about this evening will be available on our website at northmiamifl.gov. That's our main website. Our events are always posted on our Celebrate page, which is northmiamifl.gov/celebrate. And tomorrow, we have our Storytime in the Garden program. It's on the second Wednesday of every month. As you know, our North Miami Public Library is currently undergoing a renovation project. So our library programs can be found in various facilities throughout the city. So the Storytime in the Garden is a wonderful family activity that's available the second Wednesday of every month. So it will take place Wednesday, March 11th, tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. at Keystone Park. And for more information on any of the library programs, visit northmiamifl.gov/NOMI Library. Of course, this Saturday is the second Saturday of the month, and that means we have the Get in Gear Community Bike Ride here in North Miami. And as you heard, it is Florida Bike Month. So we are celebrating Bike Month with a bike rodeo during registration time. Registration begins at 8 a.m. And we are, of course, thankful for our partnership with Bike 305. We have been doing the community bike ride for many years now, and Bike 305 has helped us promote the event as a wonderful ride through and safe ride through the city of North Miami. It's an approximately 10-mile ride escorted by the North Miami Police Department, and it's part of the North Miami Parks and Rec wellness initiatives as well. So the Get in Gear Community Bike Ride is free. Registration is at the Mocha Plaza. It kicks off at 8 a.m. and the ride departs from the plaza at 8:30 a.m. sharp. So please be prompt. Helmets are required for ages 16 and under, so make sure all the children that are participating bring helmets in order to participate. For further information, you can always contact the North Miami Parks and Recreation Department at 305-895-9840. On Saturday, March 14th, also this coming Saturday, the North Miami Track Invitational will be taking place at the North Miami Athletic Stadium. This is hosted by the North Miami Track Team in collaboration with the Police Athletic League of North Miami. Athletes may register at meetregister.com at a cost of $5 per athlete or $10 for on-site registration. Once again, more information is posted on the city's website regarding the North Miami Track Invitational. Next Wednesday, March 18th, we have our Harvest Day event. This is a series of events that we've been doing at our community gardens that Tanya referenced during her presentation. We have community gardens at parks throughout the city. Our Harvest Day is coming up for Kiwanis Park, which is located at 12100 Northwest 16th Avenue, and it will kick off at 4 p.m. And we invite the community to come out and harvest the fruits and vegetables that are there as part of the community garden and participate in that event and in harvesting and actually planting in the garden. The produce is distributed on a first-come, first-served basis, and more information on our community gardens effort can be found on northmiamifl.gov/parks. On Thursday, March 19th, we are hosting our annual Celebration of Women event. This is in honor of National Women's History Month, and this is an event that is hosted annually by Councilwoman Marie Erland-Sterrill to celebrate women that have made an impact in the North Miami community through their service and leadership. You may RSVP your attendance by calling the Office of the Mayor and Council at 305-895-9815. Just an announcement on behalf of MoCA. MoCA's current exhibit, the Purvis Young exhibit, is on view through March 12th. And as the next MoCA opening will take place on Saturday, March 21st at 7 p.m. So we will have a Saturday opening, and it is called Alternative Contemporaneity Temporary Autonomous Zones. And more information on MoCA's programs and events can be found on MoCA's website at mocanomi, that's MOCANOMI.org. And two more announcements on behalf of our income tax programs. Just want to share with our community that we do offer free income tax assistance for low to moderate income individuals. That's up to $52,000 annual salary. So it is offered at multiple programs. We have one, the AARP Tax Aid Program, which is open to anyone, but they do offer special assistance to ages 60 and over. That takes place on Mondays at the North Miami Police Department. It usually is a library program, but we are offering it on at the North Miami Police Department's community room on Mondays, 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. And we have the IRS Volunteer Information Income Tax Assistance Program, where you can be serviced by trilingual IRS certified volunteers at the Sunkist Grove Community Center. So more information, once again, is posted on the city website under the event calendar for that program. And just a quick announcement on behalf of the North Miami Public Library. The American Library Association announced recently that StoryCorps at Your Library project, which is a national grant through the Institute of Museum and Library Services and the American Library Association, has awarded the North Miami Public Library as one of 10 public libraries to receive the grant for the StoryCorps project. And the StoryCorps project, if you're not familiar with it, is through NPR, National Public Radio. It's a very popular project, and you may hear the stories on Morning Edition. So we will have the StoryCorps project, and the community will be participating in that effective May 1st through October 1st. We will be recording at the North Miami Public Library. So more information will come soon. We just wanted to share that announcement with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pam.
Thank you.
I want to acknowledge the presence of an elected official in our midst from Bay Harbor, Leonard. Very good friend. And you have a few words to say?
Hi, good evening. My name is Jordan Leonard. I am the Vice Mayor of the town of Bay Harbor Islands. I'm also the Chairman of the Coastal Corridor PACE District. I'm here in support of, on the consent agenda, tab D, for the City of North Miami joining our PACE District. And if you so choose, it'd be my pleasure to support it at our next meeting. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leonard. We'll proceed with the consent agenda, as a matter of fact. No?
Yes.
Yes.
Move approval of the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishes to record a no? Consent agenda passes 4-0.
Okay, tab F.
Okay.
We do F1 first or F?
F.
Shouldn't it be E?
Oh, E, sorry.
We're gonna
Tab.
do E first, is that okay?
Oh. Well, E comes before F.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA, fiscal year 2014 through 2015 budget, authorizing the city manager to transmit the CRA fiscal year 2014 through 2015 budget to Miami-Dade County, authorizing the city manager to take all action necessary to complete the approval process for the CRA fiscal year 2014 through 2015 budget with the city of North Miami and Miami-Dade County, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Move approval.
Second.
Do we need any staff presentation?
Actually, the reason why it's on, it has to be a separate item on the agenda with a separate vote. According to the interlocal agreement that the CRA has presently with Miami-Dade County, the city's annual budget must be approved through this body, and that's the reason why it appeared on your CRA agenda tonight, and also approval on the city council's agenda.
Council.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a motion?
Yes, there was a motion made by Councilman Galvin, seconded
Seconded.
by Councilman Bieneme.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone wishes to record a no? Item passes 4-0.
What about the public?
Should we open?
We have public hearing on that?
Should-
Yes, Mayor, you need public hearing.
Yeah, we have an attorney here. Public hearing is now open on tab E. Public hearing is closed.
Item passes 4-0.
Tab F.
Tab F. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the city administration's selection of M&M Stables South LLC to provide the labor, supervision, materials, equipment, tools, machinery, expertise, and other services necessary for comprehensive equine management services at the Enchanted Forest Elaine Gordon Park Equestrian Center in accordance with the terms, conditions, and specification contained in the request for proposal number 03-14-15, Enchanted Forest Elaine Gordon Park Equestrian Center Management and Operations Services, and further authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement is substantially the attached form with M&M Stables South LLC, providing an effective date and for all other purposes.
Yeah, Mr. Manager?
I'd like to present Derek Corker and Shannon, our procurement director and parks manager.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council, through the City Manager. As a brief overview for RFP 03-14-15, the advertisement date was December 16th, 2014. The pre-solicitation conference was January 8th, 2015, and the opening was January 22nd, 2015. As a brief overview, the scope is to provide an experienced and qualified firm to provide equestrian services for the community at the park for the Parks and Rec Department. RFP 3-14-15 received 3 submittals. 2 of the submittals were deemed responsive and 1 non-responsive. Based on the ranking of the evaluation committee, the highest ranking respondent, M&M Stables LLC, is recommended for award. M&M Stables LLC scored 245 points, and the Family Ranch Inc. scored 210. And is there any? Go ahead. And we do have Melissa here from M&M in case you do have any further questions for the awarded or the recommended awardee.
What kind of M&M? Peanut butter or chocolate? Do we want to hear from M&M?
I'd like, well, oh, yeah.
Hmm?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Melissa, M&M Stables South LLC. Okay, just go into talking about the bar.
Melissa.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Derek Corker, Parks and Rec. As Shannon stated, that we have recommended for award for M&M Stables. They have a vast amount of experience in the field, over 25 years of experience with equestrian, and we feel that she'll be an excellent fit for the city of North Miami. We're looking forward to having the ranch open back up and having horses inside those stables and being able to have an opportunity for our community to ride, take lessons, learn about the care and maintenance of the horses. So if you have any questions, please feel free.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
through you to the applicant, Melissa High. What's your full name?
Melissa McGoey.
All right, Melissa, thank you. And through staff, I'm sort of getting a lukewarm feeling here. I'm not feeling your passion for this applicant. You say that one was non-responsive, one scored 210, one scored 205. That's nice. What will Ms. McGoey's organization bring to the table? Why did you choose her? You said she's got 25 years of experience. she doesn't look much more than 25 years old. So does that mean she comes from a long line of people who've run running stables? What, I mean, give me some more to work with here. I'm interested.
Do you want to do the presentation? Or?
We are definitely excited, Councilman Galvin. I'm ecstatic actually to have someone to have the ranch open again. It's been a long time coming. She has a wealth of experience. She actually has a ranch that she owns and operates in Davie. It has been operated there for the last 3 years. Very, very well organized, very detail oriented. The horses are in great and excellent condition. I've been out there myself. The stable looks wonderful. She provides services from party rentals of the horses, horse maintenance and care of a horse, boarding, full boarding, partial boarding. There is a vast amount of opportunities. We are hopeful that one day we can open up the stables to have even a trail through Enchanted Forest that will allow for more activities and more riding of the horses. Very, very happy. I think she and her organization has shown a reputation of being very high standard for what they believe in the horses. All of their horses are very well maintained. The feeding pattern, a list of veterinarians, the name of each horse is on their stable outlined in Davie, and I think she will bring that same passion here to the city of North Miami.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a couple more questions? Financially, what does this agreement bring to the table that the former one with Miss Chance did not? Are there any improvements over our agreement with Miss Chance? Is it the same? What's different?
Absolutely. We, in the past with Mrs. Chance, we received $200 monthly stipend, which roughly was $2,400 annually. M&M Stables has proposed $625 monthly with a 10% profit, a 10% of all profit sales of the rental of the horses. So you look at $2,400 annually to a $7,500 annually, plus the additional 10% on top of that from sales and rentals of the horses. So I believe that shows a substantial amount of increase from our previous owner. We're looking at roughly over $5,000 and potentially more.
Do we have any idea what previous horse rental income was, or did Miss Chance not keep any record of that, so we don't know if it's going to be $1,000 or $10,000 or?
We did not have records of Mrs. Chance rentals. We received a monthly stipend of $200.
And how do we plan to keep track of how many horses are rented going forward?
Well, per the code, there's only one horse per stable or 2 ponies per stable. That is at the discretion of the vendor, M&M, to pay out for their boarding, what they charge. And the going rate in South Florida is probably anywhere from $400 to $600 per stall for full board. If you have a partial board or a half board, you're looking at anywhere from $200 a month to $300 a month. That's you will still maintain and clean your stall, feed your horses. The horses will have a living spot for them to be at and have a grazing area for them to run and play. I do believe that it will allow us in the city of North Miami to have that avenue open back up. We miss the horses. A lot of people have called our office regarding the horses and hoping that the stables open up soon. I believe that she brings, like I said, the experience and the know-how to treat animals right and deal with our constituents here in the city of North Miami.
Are we still going to have pony rides for little kids that come into the park, or is that still going to be part of the program?
Yes, sir. I'm hoping to do a wide variety of things: pony rides, horseback riding lessons, trail rides, as we talked about. Maybe in the future, if we can look to see where those trail rides would be. It's something that's very popular down in Davie. The trail rides. It's very relaxed, so it brings in a lot of people. So I think that would help the city as well because it would bring in more people. It's not so much structured riding, like lessons, training. It's just a relaxed, nice, peaceful ride. And we'll have things for the kids, for adults, for the birthday parties, and try to just cover every aspect and keep it more organized and keep, the city more involved and all of that and keep it clean and just hopefully make it the best that it could be.
Sure. My last question, Mr. Mayor. Derek, I know you've invested, the Parks Department has invested a lot of money since the former operator left. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've done to upgrade and stabilize the stables themselves?
Absolutely. We have in November of 2013, we put a brand new roof over the stables. We have improved the lighting there. There were some issues with our lighting. We have improved the plumbing. We've redone the full corral for the horses. All stables have been leveled from the ground up, painted, and Melissa might have to help me. I'm not a horse guy, so I guess it's the bedding for the horses where they lay. We have improved that. We have improved the back dumpster area. There was a old dumpster, 20-yard container that was sitting on my asphalt, had deteriorated. We have improved that. We also have improved the painting for aesthetic, the pleasing of the public. We added a new sign out there that allows our participants to know when the ranch is open and when it is closed. We've also done some work in the back corral for the ponies. So all of that has been done by our staff in-house. So we invested probably roughly about $50,000 back into the stalls. So we are very, very interested in making sure that this happens.
And through the mayor, some of that work that Derek is talking about, that does not include the work that was done by Public Works on the facility as well. So staff time is also added to that. So it's well over $50,000. On your other question that you asked, in section 5.2 on the monthly payments, you will see in the contract where after the first 10 days after the 10 days of the beginning month, the operator shall provide to the city all sales that is going to be audited for the previous, that was done for the prior month. All of that is addressed in the contract contractually, and the contract is can be terminated based on non-compliance with this information as well.
Thank you, Mr.
All right. Any other questions or comments for the vendor? For the citizen forum? Are you finished, Mr. Cooper?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Derek.
Okay. Okay, public hearing is open.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Frank Woland, 12865 West Dixie Highway, here on behalf of Enchanted Stables, Inc. I'm very disturbed, and I'd like to think you might be disturbed too. The last time I appeared before you on this particular issue, our response to the request for proposals was not considered because staff had found that one piece of paper wasn't filled out correctly. And a lot of people came up and spoke about how we wanted to open this up to the community and make something really for the children and the people of North Miami, and that was our vision. And the council very, I think properly, sent this back to staff to do it again. And now they've done it again, and I've got a very bad feeling in my stomach about the way they've done it. Because once again, our proposal wasn't considered. This time it wasn't considered because we did not attend, they say, the pre-proposal conference. Well, the reason we didn't go to the pre-proposal conference is we went to the conference for the last request for proposals, which was the same. So we did not believe there was certainly any need to go to the conference again after we had already done that. But we submitted a very detailed proposal. And our proposal contained letters from our partners, North Miami High School, the elementary schools, church, the people we wanted to have involved to make this a real community operation. I'm sorry you didn't get to read any of those letters because our proposal was not in your backup. You didn't get to consider our proposal, nor did staff consider our proposal. With the first time this all happened, someone said to my client, don't even bother because we've got this all, taken care of. I really am at a lack. I think this is sad. And I wish you'd just consider take a look yourselves at all the proposals. I don't mind losing if you think theirs is a better proposal. But if you're not even going to look at ours, very, very discouraging.
What's the name of your client?
Enchanted Stables.
Enchanted, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now it's on. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Carol Prager, 2509 Northeast 135th Street. I'm here on behalf of Susie Blumen, who could not be here this evening due to health issues. I did want the council to know that there are, and there has been, and there are many residents of North Miami who were involved in examining what was going to happen with the stables for many, many months, if not years. And we became very versed in this particular item. And there is support across the city for M&M Stables. Ms. Blumen personally uses M&M Stables for her horses. She has grandchildren who ride there. I understand that Melissa took one of her granddaughters to a state competition where she, I think, won. But Ms. Blumen has very high standards. She's really a bulldog when it comes to things like this. She doesn't leave any stone unturned. And she has great faith in this organization. And I just wanted the council to know that there was support from residents in North Miami for M&M Stables. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Stephen Rios. I am the director, or one of the directors for Enchanted Stables Incorporated. And the reason I'm speaking, I've spoke before you the last time we were here. And I am not going to, for a second, discredit M&M and their organization. What I will say is that some of the things that were not considered was that we have direct involvement from Dade County Schools at North Miami Senior High, the elementary schools, Oasis Church, community partners that are very much involved in our city, community members as well. And we were proposing an EQUIN program for students at risk, wounded warriors, just to name a few, even students that were dealing with the types of autisms or Down syndrome, so that they can be therapeutically serviced through equine therapy. If the council believes that we are not the right organization for the job, I am totally willing to bow out and give the city what it deserves. However, if it's not that it's providing something that would truly benefit our children, not only do we have that, but we have possible Title I involvement. We have possible, we have agreements from the schools to actually work with us, agreements from Oasis Church to provide even transportation. We have agreements with other entities to train staff in equine therapy, which we have met with on our own time, so that we can provide the services to the community. Something that if we provide it to the community, it's going to come back to the community. Again, I will not discredit M&M, but I will say that it's disconcerting to me that we're not evaluating the proposal based on a technicality. Thank you.
Mr. Manager, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Well, actually, I should be asking Mr. Corker.
Yeah, sure.
Who interviews, who evaluates those companies who put their proposal?
We had an evaluation committee. Derek, you want to?
Mayor, I will defer to the purchasing manager. She handles the evaluations, and she can give you a little more clarity on that.
Okay.
The evaluators were Mr. Derek Corker, Mr. Ron Jackson, and Mr. Jeff Geimer. Were the
Mr.
three
Corker,
evaluators.
Mr. Jeff Heimer, and then who else? Jeff Geimer?
Jeff Geimer. Yes, sir.
Through the chair, these are all members of the Parks and Recreation
Parks and Recs,
Department. They are all familiar and experienced with the operations of the stable. That's why they were chosen. And they're all familiar with what has gone on at the stables over the past years. And this is why I think with their experience, they were put on this committee to do an evaluation.
Now, you gave the total points of each company, right?
Yes.
During
Yes,
your
I
during your
did.
presentation.
200 and
Guys, let's keep this open.
No, hold on a second. Hold on. Yes.
M&M Stable scored 245 points. Family Ranch scored 210 points on the ranking.
Why was the Enchanted Stables not
Enchanted Stables was not
included in that process?
Enchanted, we had a mandatory pre-bid of which both the Family Ranch and M&M attended, and Enchanted Stables did not attend. Based upon the fact that it is a mandatory pre-bid,
Okay.
they were found to be none.
Okay. Well, I guess the only argument that I hear now is that because they had attended it the previous time, so they felt that they didn't have to the second time. So
Ye- Yes, sir, that is the case, but the others did attend at this pre-bid also.
okay, that's
All right, I'm going to jump right in there then. And we do have to continue with public hearings. I don't know if you want to finish public hearing and then come back, but
let's continue with public hearing and then we'll come back. to
Good
the
evening,
guys.
Mayor. Good evening, Councilman. My name is Robert Houston. I live at 1150 Northeast 123rd Street. The only question I did not hear mentioned was liability. If indeed there is an accident or anything like that, where would the city be liable? That's an important issue, especially in this day of lawsuits. And the other thing is, I do miss seeing the stables open. I've been a resident of North Miami for a long time. I think it's one of the things that makes this city a very special place and a little bit different from surrounding communities. So if the stables have been closed for a long time, it reflects poorly on our community. And I am, for the purpose of this meeting, would like to say, please proceed as quickly as possible to make it open and make it happen. Thank you.
Madam Attorney,
Um,
do we have a clause,
On
an
the
indemnification
contract?
clause?
through the mayor on the contract, there's
No, let Madam Attorney answer.
You asked a clause about what? I didn't hear that last part.
Indemnification, I mean.
Yes,
if
there's
that vendor
insurance.
would
There's
indemnify.
commercial general liability.
What
of
page is
1
that?
mil- It's page 15 of the contract.
Okay.
Is public
You can
hearing
go ahead
still
and read
open?
it. You can go ahead and read it.
Commercial general liability with project dedicated minimum limits of $1 million per occurrence for bodily injury and property damage. This coverage shall also include personal and advertising injury, medical payments, and products completed operations to be maintained for 3 years after completion of services. There's also commercial automobile liability with the minimum limit of $1 million covering any automobile including non-owned, hired, or leased vehicles. And there's also workers' compensation with a minimum limit of $1 million per accident for bodily injury or disease.
Yeah, but that does not indemnify us.
There is also an indemnification clause, which is, give me a second here,
page 14.
page 14 of the agreement.
Okay, Article 18.
Article 18, the contractor shall defend and indemnify and hold harmless the city, its officers, and so forth.
Okay. Does that answer your question, sir? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Annie Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane. I think it's past time that we opened the stables. They've been closed much too long. I believe our advisory committee, whoever was elected, I think we should respect their decision. That's why they were chosen. This company that is being represented by council here that did not show up for the required meeting should not be considered. I know Mr. Woolen is very convincing, but I would say, why don't we just move forward with what we have here and get the stables open for the M&M? Thank you.
May I have 30 seconds, Mayor? Come on up.
Well, he represents a company, so that's.
I just wanted to respond to some of the comments.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I found Ms. Blumen's representative's remarks to be interesting, because what it tells me is that the same clique, the same group before, the same clique, the people who have the money, who can pay the $600, $700, whatever it is, to keep their horses in Davie. Boy, it's inconvenient going to Davie. The kids who are going to go to our group's thing are the school kids from here. They don't have the money. You won't see them there. Not very nice.
Okay, please.
I'd like 30 seconds,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor. I'd like 30 seconds. I have every right to speak as a citizen here. I'm not of a clique, Mr. Rowland. When things don't go good for you, sir, you attack people.
Okay.
That's your MO.
All right, thank you very much.
The clique he's referring to, that he referred to last meeting,
What's your name and address, please?
Salome Beyond 11400 Northeast 10th Avenue, Biscayne Park, with a family ranch. We are not with M&M Stables. It's a completely different business. So the clique he's referring to is not anything to do with that. And the family ranch resubmitted their bid. We did not score as high, but we did show up to all the proper meetings and did all the proper paperwork every single time. We were persistent, and we're not crying about, we just want the ranch open again. We're not crying about we didn't score, we just want it open.
Public hearing is still open? Public hearing is not closed? Oh, go ahead.
My name is Hector Medina. I'm a medical doctor, and I live at 1270 Northeast, 124th Street. You do realize that $1 million is not even close for a spinal cord injury, which is the most common injury in horseback riding. So, $1 million, please.
Madam Attorney, can you opine on that?
On whether $1 million is enough insurance?
Mhm.
Well, our risk manager reviewed the agreement, reviewed the conditions and the type of services that were provided, and found that $1 million was sufficient. And as, again, we do have the indemnification clauses and the hold harmless clause as well.
Well, it's $1 million per event, per event, right? Do we
That is correct. Per occurrence for bodily
Yeah,
injury and property damage.
per occurrence per person.
Correct.
Well, I guess if when you have an insurance, it simply covers a certain part of your care, and if the care that you give, the services, surpass the amount of your insurance, you can always go after the person who's responsible. So and that has happened many times, right, Madam Attorney?
That is correct.
Okay.
And ultimately, there are many times when people say that insurance is not adequate, but how much value do you give to a life, and so on and so forth. Those questions always come into play, but it's difficult to really ascertain a number that everyone will be satisfied with.
Any other comment from the dais, from the council members?
Couple questions. I do agree, looking at the contract, that $1 million is really low for this type of activity. This could be a dangerous activity. It's not normally, but that one fall, 1 million is low. As far as indemnification, an indemnification from a corporation really is just not worth anything. So we may have an indemnification, but it really doesn't mean anything. It's nice to have, but you've got a corporation which is to shelter your liabilities. So thinking that's going to help us, it's not. One last question to the attorney. On the next item, it talks about that the company is going to follow the Lauren book laws. Is that a new law, and is that something that should be? I know we're talking about Jessica Lunford laws in this contract. I'm not even familiar with what a Lauren book law is, but it sounds like it might be something that should be incorporated into this contract.
Let me look at that and get back to you in terms of incorporating into this
That's
agreement.
something, if we vote on this evening, we
We
could
can
always add
certainly
that
add it,
provision
yes,
if it's
absolutely. It
necessary.
would be in substantially the same form.
Thank you.
Correct.
No, nothing? I think you have a lot of things to
Sure,
say.
no, it's actually, this is for the city attorney, Madam Attorney. The question was brought up about the procedure of whether or not the third group needed to have shown for the pre-bid conference this time because they'd already come before. I assume there's a legal standard or a legal precedent that lays that out. In your legal opinion, did the third organization have the duty to attend on the second bid, even though they had attended on the first bid?
Correct. So each bid is a separate entity in and of itself. So when the first bid was advertised and canceled, that entire process was complete. When it was rebid, bid number RFP-031415 on December 16, 2014, it began the process anew, so that any requirements, whether they were in the previous bid or in this bid, have nothing to do with each other. They're completely separate. So if there is a requirement that is in this new bid, then that requirement must be met.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Councilman?
No.
Nothing? Well,
Roll call.
on the issue of the insurance coverage, I would like to ask, I'm sorry I forgot your name. Melissa? I mean, since you've been at this for I don't think you've been at it for more than 25 years, but your company has.
Yes,
What is
sir.
the typical coverage that you have seen?
Typically, in any situation like this where properties run into usually $1 million coverage, double aggregate, in case it happens twice, you're covered for $2 million is what's typical for everywhere. We also require everybody to sign a riding waiver when they come to the ranch to ride, stating that, equine activities can be dangerous, can lead to death, and you hold M&M Staples, the city of North Miami, all of that harmless, and, you sign the bottom of that. And on top of that, we have a Florida statute that protects us also, Chapter 773, that says that it's basically the inherent risk of riding horses is expected. You can get hurt, and physically nobody has control of that animal. And it states out in there, I think, 6 different parts protecting corporations and other places who offer rides, or even homeowners at their houses of people falling off their horses and being sued. So that's in the state law. And then I have riding waivers, and we have the insurance, which, most of the time, because I've never honestly had an incident where someone was going to sue me, but I've had plenty of other people that I've known through, working for other people when I was growing up and everything happen. And most of the time it doesn't even make it to the point of contacting the insurance because of the riding waiver and the state law. And that's what I've seen happen in any cases where someone does try to go through and sue you.
Madam Attorney,
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to increase the insurance. We can speak with our risk manager again and speak with the, should you award the bid, we can certainly increase that if that's your desire.
what are your thoughts on the waiver that you just mentioned? Would that hold in a very serious case? I mean, is this an iron curtain that cannot be pierced by any?
Nothing is ever iron in the law, right? So there's always areas of gray.
Stainless steel?
More, there's no such animal. More is always better. You know, people can argue certainly as to what is enough, but if it's your direction for us to go back and reconsider, we're happy to do that.
Okay.
So I need clarity on the,
Somebody has to make a motion to approve this. I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation of staff.
I second it.
You mean for
Including the amendments.
insurance.
Including the amendments regarding the insurance as suggested by the city attorney.
okay, on item F, motion was made by Councilman Galvin and passed and seconded by Councilman Bieneme with the amendments that's on record. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishes to record a no? Item passes 4-0.
Item F1.
Item F1. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving and authorizing the issuance of a carnival permit with conditions allowing for the operation of more than 3 amusement park rides to McGrail Shows LLC, scheduled to be held at the Desert Collection in North Miami, providing for an effective date and for all purposes.
Mr. Mayor. Point of clarification. The horses leave me all choked up.
Clarify your throat first.
Thank you. I want to make sure I don't have a conflict of interest. I have rented the Desert Museum facility for an event tomorrow night. Does that, for any reason, cause a conflict with me voting on this matter tonight?
You have rented, and you've paid normal rental fees, just like anyone else in the public?
Correct.
Okay, so it was an arm's length
Has nothing
agreement.
to do with this carnival,
Okay.
but I just want to be on the
So
record so that 'cause
you're-
the timing of it all, somebody doesn't say there was quid pro quo or something like that.
Correct. Because it was an arm's length transaction, I do not think there was a conflict.
Okay, thank you.
Public hearing is now open. Public hearing is open. Oh, do we have staff presentation?
Just a short presentation. Actually, it is an add-on as requested by Councilman Bieneme. It's for an amusement park ride from Merlin Shows LLC at the Desert Collection, which is at the Desert open field, which is opposite the Desert Museum. And I'll turn it over to Major Beach to give a short presentation. The applicant is also here as well. All the required insurances, and the only change since this was a late add-on in going through the package, I would like to increase the bond on this from $500 to $1,000 for the cleanup, and the number of rides to be specified. Those are 2 changes I would like to recommend on this. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council, City Manager. On March 26th through April 5th, and the actual address is 1890 Northeast 146th Street, which is directly across from the Deezer Collection Museum in the empty lot. The Deezer Collection has entered into an agreement with the Carnival Company. A representative from the Deezer Collection and the Carnival Company are both here to answer any questions you may have. Submitted an application for a carnival. The City of North Miami Police Department have reviewed the application for the carnival, and we've come up with a few conditions, and we'll read them out into the record. The first condition was a minimum of 2 off-duty officers during all hours the carnival is operational. Staff will provide parking and direction. They have about 200 parking spots on site at the Desert Collection, so they should have sufficient parking for the carnival. No roadways will be blocked or affected. proper sanitation, dumpster, restrooms, and cleanup during and after the event daily. The name of a contact person on site that is in charge if the police have any issues at the event. All permits and inspections by regulatory agencies are completed prior to opening to the public. That the event must close by 11 p.m. each night. And on Sunday through Thursday, any loud music or noise has to stop at 10 p.m. No sale of alcohol. The City of North Miami named an insurance, and the insurance should be approved by risk management. A hold harmless letter from Deezer Collection to the City of North Miami. A statement from the Carnival Company that they're aware of and follow both Jessica and Lauren Book's law, and a diagram with evacuation routes for the carnival. They have complied with all 12 of our conditions. Originally, when we had mentioned the $500 bond, the company had agreed to $500 bond, and we spoke with them just prior to the meeting, and they'll be agreeable to the $1,000 bond for cleanup. The carnival is on private property, and the representative of the Deezer Collection is also here with a diagram. I believe currently they have 18 rides out, and I don't believe they will go over 20 rides at the carnival.